Alright. Ja, schön, dass ihr alle da seid. Ich hoffe, ihr habt die Kaffeepause genossen und bin begeistert, jetzt hier zu sein. Es ist sehr schön, hier da zu sein und ich gehe gleich aufs nächste Slide und hier steht Yahoo is back in Germany und ehrlich gesagt, Yahoo war nie weg. Ja, sondern Yahoo ist mehr als da. Für mich ist es auch sehr schön, für Yahoo tätig zu sein und zu arbeiten, weil für mich ist Yahoo ein absolutes Love-Brand. Und in allen Gesprächen, die wir zurzeit auch mit potenziellen Partnern sprechen oder Leuten aus dem Ökosystem, wird es immer wieder bestätigt, was da für eine Positivität praktisch auch der Marke und des Produktes Yahoo gegenüber da ist. Also insofern, das freut mich sehr. Und auch Yahoo in Deutschland ist natürlich nach wie vor da, insofern, dass wir noch eine unglaublich große Reichweite haben. Es sind so roundabout 18, 19 Millionen Unique Visitors nach Comscore. Und damit sind wir unter den Top 10 in Deutschland, Top 10 angeboten. Und insofern, Yahoo ist back in Germany, das ist richtig. Yahoo hat so ein bisschen in den letzten 3 Jahren nicht so viel Visibilität gehabt. Das hängt einfach damit zusammen, dass Yahoo vor 3 Jahren die strategische Entscheidung getroffen hat, ihr Business in den nicht englischsprachigen Märkten aus Hubs heraus zu organisieren. Und jetzt haben wir aber, letztes Jahr gab es eine Änderung und zwar gibt es die NetGrowth Deutschland GmbH. Wir sind der Reseller für Yahoo in Deutschland und starten jetzt gerade wieder voll durch, gemeinsam mit unseren Partnern in der Schweiz. Der Arndt Hendricks sitzt hier auch, einfach mal kurz winken, genau. Die sind von der NetGrowth aus der Schweiz und die machen seit 8 Jahren das Reseller-Business für Yahoo. Insofern ist es eine lang gewachsene, gute Beziehung, ganz enge Zusammenarbeit mit Yahoo und und wir starten jetzt in Deutschland wieder voll durch. Kurz zu dem, was ist denn eigentlich Yahoo? Yahoo ist einmal bekannt einfach dafür, dass es großartige Inhalte hat, also Contents. Wenn man sich mal anschaut, und das sehen wir auch in den ganzen Gesprächen gerade, Yahoo Finance ist einfach einer der Inhalte, die in dieser ganzen Finanzcommunity hochgradig anerkannt ist und super läuft. Da sind wir auch unter den Top 3 Seiten in Deutschland. Dann natürlich Mail, damit das verbindet auch jeder mit Yahoo. Da sind wir unter den Top 4. Also was das Angebot betrifft, richtig gut noch mit dabei. Und Yahoo ist natürlich auch ein Tech-Provider. Wir haben eine eigene DSP, die wir betreiben. Und da will ich euch noch kurz ein bisschen Insights geben. Im Grunde, wir decken alle üblichen Funktionen einer DSP ab. Wir gehen über alle Channels und haben eben Partnerships aus dem globalen Business heraus, mit einem Disney Plus zum Beispiel, mit einem Spotify, mit Netflix. Aber eben auch, und das ist jetzt natürlich wieder unser Approach auch für Deutschland, dass wir verstärkt eben auch mit Content-Anbietern, Suppliern und Datenanbietern auch in Deutschland wieder sprechen, um das Angebot nochmal attraktiver zu machen und da wieder wirklich zu sagen, Yahoo is back in Germany. Sonst ist Yahoo natürlich auch bekannt dafür für Innovation. Für mich ist immer Yahoo die Mutter von allem, weil letztes Jahr haben wir 30-jährigen Geburtstag gefeiert und meine erste Suche war auf Yahoo, das war irgendwann mal Mitte der 90er und seitdem ist es eigentlich ein kontinuierlicher Innovationsprozess und jetzt auch zu dem großen Thema Agentic AI oder Agentic Advertising sind Sie wieder Wegbereiter oder bei den Innovatoren dabei und deswegen freue ich mich sehr, Alice Beecroft gleich auf der Bühne, oder ist sie schon? Genau, gleich auf der Bühne. So the stage is yours, Alice.
Oh, thank you.
And you will give us some insights about, how Yahoo is handling the big opportunity of agentic AI and agentic advertising.
Cool.
And I'm handing over the clicker for you.
Thank you very much. And also we're going to switch from German to English. Unfortunately, my German is incredibly light. It enables me to ask for a beer and not much else. Obviously, one of the most important things. So what am I going to be talking about today? I'm going to be talking about how agentic AI is acting, but are we actually communicating? And I promise you, I'm only going to be mentioning the word Yahoo maybe about 3 or 4 times. This is not a sales pitch. This is about allowing you to understand how, no matter whether you're looking at this from the buy side or the sell side, you can start to evolve the systems that you have and start to communicate in an agentic way. Now, it's not often you have the opportunity to be able to work across generational technology. In fact, in the last 20 years, I can only really think of 2 occurrences where we've seen like massive changes to the ecosystem and a massive shift within the industry. The first is when RTB came in. If you think about the changes that programmatic brought to the industry, it impacted absolutely everything we did, both from the buy side and the sell side. The second is happening now. It's happening with the introduction of agentic workflows, and it's happening with how systems are communicating together in an agentic manner. But let's take a little step back and think about early machine learning. Those foundational algorithms handle pacing, bidding, optimization, but all in a very sort of fixed flow, a very sort of fixed manner. Now, don't get me wrong, those machine learning algorithms are still where a lot of the original sort of magic happens and are still important today. But if we think about how people are now sort of interacting with systems, either on the supply side or the buy side, we're starting to see the introduction of generational AI or Gen AI, bringing about intent-based prompts, introducing natural language into the way in which humans interact with systems, allowing them to drive recommendations and configurations. Is this driving efficiencies? Yes, 100%. But most of the Gen AI that we're seeing right now is siloed. It's housed within individual platforms. When we start to take a look at Agentic, what we're then thinking about is dynamic delegation and execution. Now, the one thing that I think about there when we look at that from a DSP perspective is it's actually changing the nature of what a DSP is. No longer is it about the UI that exists within the DSP. No longer is it about how the traders understand a platform, the amount of training that goes in to them getting that muscle memory to become familiar with a platform. Instead, it's going to mean about DSPs becoming a connected intelligence layer, how well it's able to actually communicate with other systems in an agentic way. Taking a look at how humans communicate with systems is definitely changing. The traditional way is having humans as middleware. It's very tool-based. It's very much following a deterministic workflow. If this, then do that. As we start to see that shift across to agentic communication, instead we're starting to look at platforms becoming autonomous partners, very much strategy-focused. Rather than being a if this, then do that, instead it's focusing on goals. How can I reach this? How can I achieve that? How is that communication shift actually coming about? Well, it's been with the introduction of the large number of protocols over the course of the last 18 months. We're seeing like a whole swathe of them coming in. But it's these protocols that are allowing the shift from human-based communication with systems into agentic-based communication. Less human direction and more agentic direction. But it's not just happening on the buy side. It's happening across the whole of the ecosystem. And that's why I refer back to the fact this is probably only the second time in the last 20 years where we've seen this massive transformation start to happen within the industry. At Yahoo, there we go, point 1, mentioned it once. At Yahoo, we are incredibly proud to have been an early mover within that space. We were one of the founding members, or are one of the founding members, of Ad Context Protocol, AdCP. AdCP, for those of you who don't know, is an open, standardized way of being able to communicate between the buy side and the sell side using a common language. It's almost akin to the standardization that we saw that OpenRTB bought for bid requests, or the standardization that came in with header bidding when it came with pre-bid. But what does this actually mean to the supply and the demand side? Well, on the demand side, it gives the ability to be able to start transacting direct publisher buys in a much more scaled programmatic workflow. Is it going to replace programmatic guaranteed? No. What it is going to do is it's going to allow it to scale. Think about what it means on the supply side. Think about the amount of human contact that needs to come in, human communication, when it comes to activating direct I/O buys. From the sell side, it's going to allow it to, from a simple agentic AdCP, be able to read campaign goals. It's going to be able to discover that supply, not only what's being packaged from a human context, but take into account things like seasonality or new things that are coming in off the back of those campaign goals. It's going to be able to negotiate. It's going to be able to negotiate those prices based on the moment in time. And finally, it's going to be able to execute and actually allow campaigns to activate. It's going to reduce fragmentation. It's going to drive up interoperability, but above all, it's going to drive a huge amount of shift and change in transparency when it comes to those types of buys. For me, the bit that's really exciting, and yes, I'm going to geek out a little bit here, model context protocols. For me, MCPs are the absolute game changer. The way that RTB changed things, for me, MCPs is the thing that is making a massive difference. But before we take a look at how this protocol can be applied in ad tech, I'm going to try and do a little bit of real-world analogy, sort of bring it to life from a human concept. Let's take the legacy API. This is what most platforms are using right now in order to be interoperable. You're a user, you want chicken, you know what you want. You have fixed logic. I want chicken, if this, then please provide me with chicken. You're going to use the API. This is a functional request pipe. It operates in a very one-dimensional way. It does exactly what you ask it to do. So you put the request into the chicken API. The application runs the request, and guess what? It comes back with chicken, exactly what it is that you requested in the first place. But let's change it up a little bit. Now you want ice cream. Can you use the chicken API? No, you can't use the chicken API. Instead, you've got to start building out the ice cream API because it's a shift. APIs function in a very one-dimensional way. Now let's come across to MCP, and you can see the sparkles as to how much I think it is wonderful. This operates in a very goal-orientated basis. It's using natural language, human input to basically provide a goal, and off the back of that, bring something that you may or may not know that you actually want. So in this instance, you sit down and you say, I'm hungry. Give me something that you know that I'm going to like. Give me a meal that I'm going to come out of here and think, yep, this is the best outcome, the best meal that I could possibly have. That prompt goes across using the MCP server, goes into the application. Now, what's the application doing? What it's actually doing is it's using planning paths in order to determine, well, how much are the ingredients? What's the seasonality? What ingredients are even available? Have you eaten with us before? What meals have you eaten with us? What was your likes and dislikes? And off the back of that, in that full planning mode, it's then able to come back and provide you with a multi-course meal. It's taking that goal-orientated, potentially messy natural language input. It's using data in order to determine both past and future, and it's providing you something which is goal-orientated and hopefully something that you actually want. Now let's take a little look at ad tech. The purpose of MCPs is to provide a standardized way of connecting AI into tool sets. It simplifies things. It operates on a build once. You don't want to be building every single connection in on an individual basis. That, A, is inefficient, B, it takes up engineering resources, thirdly, you have to prioritize things, and for the most part, it just takes a huge amount of time. So looking at it from a legacy API perspective, think about the different tool sets. Every single time you're building AI into one of those individual tool sets, you're having to use different cables that come in. Instead, from an MCP perspective, it's more akin to looking at it from a USB-C port. That port exists on the AI, and the MCP cables that are coming in allows you to adapt it to every single tool set that platform actually exists. AI's been around for a long time. Agents have been around for a long time, but it's only the introduction of MCP, an open source protocol that came about in early 2025 that really started to make a game changer and suddenly made it ubiquitous and available and widespread throughout the industry. So just remember one thing, APIs automate tasks, MCPs automate outcomes, but the APIs are not going to be replaced by MCPs. APIs still exist. APIs are still there in the background. It's the connectivity between the agents or the external platforms that are coming in that need to have a common way of communicating with the tool sets within the different platforms. So let's take a look at it from the buying process. Agentic AI has the ability to influence the whole of the buying process. Obviously, I'm looking at this very much from a DSP perspective. And it has the ability to be able to reduce the steps that humans are directing in order to be able to achieve your goals in a much faster way. Now, one thing to mention is I've said AI has been around for quite a long time, and certainly agents have been around for quite a long time as well. This is one of the things that Yahoo recognized. We put a lot of foundational investment in this over the course of late 2024 and coming into 2025. In fact, in early 2025, we started to build out what are the different use cases, what are the different ways we perceive that Agentic is going to change from a communication aspect. We started building out the knowledge bases. We started building out what it is the LLMs are going to be working across. We isolated those different use cases, and yes, we've got those use cases in silos, but then we built out a knowledge graph in order to be able to tie those use cases together. Now, some might say, well, why are you working in silos? Isn't the whole purpose of this is to make it sort of free-flowing? The reason why we've taken the different use cases is firstly, to be able to roll them out and roll them out fast. And thirdly, is to ensure that every single response that's happening is happening in the fastest possible way. But that knowledge graph is actually allowing internally those use cases to communicate together in the background. So, taking a look at the campaign workflow. Insights. What does agentic communication bring? There's no more combing through huge amounts and swathes of data. Instead, it allows you to access smarter insights a hell of a lot faster. Surface trends instantly at your fingertips. From a trafficking perspective, minimal human inputs, or rather not minimal human input, but minimal manual input that's coming in, allowing you to streamline setup and focus actually on the strategy and the growth of the setup, the strategy of the setup versus having to understand the individual workflow. From an optimization perspective, being able to adapt in real time and supercharged in real time, harnessing the performance signals and allowing the agents to actually bring through examples of what it is that you should be considering. From a troubleshooting perspective, I mean, come on, how much time is wasted on troubleshooting, going into recommendation dashboards or scanning emails that have come out because, I don't know, your creative has had a GDPR flag, trigger. Instead, actually allowing the system to be able to detect and solve problems as fast as possible off the back of the prompts that you as a human are putting in. And then finally, from a measurement perspective, clear and actionable results. Rather than you having to go in and mine the data, actually providing recommendations off the back of the measurement that comes through. Now let's take a quick look at how does this actually work? What are the types of things that you can be thinking about? How are you shifting that human communication versus using the workflows of the platform? One thing to bear in mind, this can happen within a platform or it can happen external to a platform. The MCP servers is what allows it to happen within your own universe, or it can actually be happening native within the platform itself, in this case, Yahoo DSP. So from an insight perspective, you're moving, rather than looking at a what happened, instead you're looking at a what next. So an example might be, find the segments that matter to my particular campaign goals, or identify the best performing supply paths. From a trafficking perspective, it's more about being intent-based. It's about understanding what verification needs to happen rather than actually plugging in the creatives and getting the campaign set up. So in that instance, you might, from an agentic perspective, say, hey, build a cross-screen campaign, configuring it to be able to target and access X, Y, or Z. From an optimization perspective, shift budgets towards audience and channels that matter according to the goals that I'm hitting right now. These are all very, very simplified human-based prompts that we're starting to see both internal to a platform or external. From an improvement in QA perspective, rather than only being able to configure dashboards, etc., based on all the different filters or what it is that they are actually monitoring, being able to put a prompt in, say, flag any delivery gaps, detect early signs of, so really making it more proactive than reactive. And then from a measurement perspective, it's about moving from metrics to business intelligence. It's about showing clear, actionable results. So an example of a prompt there is, show the incremental lift provided by X, Y, or Z. Okay. Now I am going to do a little bit of a Yahoo piece. What is it that we believe? We believe in being truly flexible. We believe about providing the choice and control to the end user. As I mentioned right at the beginning, we believe that there's going to be a shift in the way that DSPs are perceived. There's an expectation, and in actual fact, as I mentioned, there's going to be loads of people that are never even going to see the DSP UI. Instead, they're going to be functioning on the way that their system communicates in. So with that, we have 3 very specific use cases that we've been building towards since early 2025. And the first, very simple language, is called yours. This is your AI. These are your agents that have the ability through our MCP servers to connect in to our tool sets. This is about you building out your Gen AI prompts within your platforms and being able to pull through any of the information you want across any of the parts of the campaign workflow. It's about giving you access to everything that exists within the DSP. 2 such examples could be campaign activation or potentially budget management. Let's think about budget management for a second. I mean, you have to go in, you have to get, I don't know, maybe you have a reporting API, or maybe you have email-based reports that are coming in from all the different platforms that you're running across. You then have to, sometimes they have different date formats, you have to merge them all together. Then you need to consider, okay, well, how are you actually pacing? Where do you want to shift the budgets? Then you have to go into the platforms and make all the changes. Imagine having the ability to be able to have a Gen AI prompt that sits within your platform, within your systems, that says, show me the pacing for campaign X. Now consider that has an MCP server that's going not just into Yahoo DSP, but it's going into all the other platforms that you're running across as well. Then you're able to say to that prompt, explain to me how you feel I should change the budget allocation based on the performance that's taking place. And it comes back with recommendations. So no longer are you having to sort of spend all of that time analyzing the information and figuring out where you need to shift. Instead, you can use your own internal Gen AI prompt to communicate with the platforms that you're running across, which in turn will send back the information, and then your Gen AI agent will then communicate to you what the recommendations are, and then you can push that through via campaign activation MCP as well. Now, I just want to show you a little short demo. Budget management, I think, is actually, funnily enough, one of the things that we've been asked for by pretty much every single agency from multiple different countries. It's one of those sort of little bugbears that people get caught up on. But this here it's not just theoretical. We actually launched this at CES in January. This is a great example, so apologies for the American accent on the video, but this is a great example of how campaign activation is already taking place with an external agent coming into the Yahoo DSP via MCP. Hopefully this is going to work. Is it going to work?
Activating streaming campaigns has traditionally been a manual, time-consuming process, requiring multiple handoffs, careful coordination, and constant validation to ensure everything is set up correctly. The RPA Media Activation Agent leverages MCP to securely access planning and performance data in Yahoo DSP. As a result, the workflow becomes dramatically simpler. In this example, the agent works alongside the agency user to gather campaign details, understand the media plan, and translate that information into an actionable activation strategy. Rather than jumping between systems or spreadsheets, the agent organizes key inputs, highlights what's needed next, and keeps the process moving forward. As the conversation continues, the agent validates deal information, ensures everything aligns with the original plan, and proactively checks that each deal is mapped correctly, reducing risk and eliminating manual verification. Once confirmed, the agent seamlessly registers the deals and moves into creative assignment, handling the setup across partners and publishers with accuracy and consistency. Behind the scenes, the agent keeps track of progress, confirms completion, and provides a clear post-activation summary, so teams know exactly what's live and ready to monitor. With approval from all stakeholders, the campaign is successfully activated in the Yahoo DSP, setting the foundation for efficient optimization, performance management, and deeper collaboration between agency, publisher, and Newton Analytics teams.
I mean, that's agentic communication straight away there. Look at the change in how the humans are actually interacting. Look at the shift that we're starting to see. Oh, no, we don't want it again. Definitely don't want it again. Okay. The next one is mine. Now, I've spoken about this briefly already. Yes, we are expecting a lot of clients to start integrating into the platform without actually using the UI, but the UI is still important. There's always going to be a portion of clients that actually want to use the DSP itself. So with that, we're taking a look at every single use case, making certain there's Gen AI integrated natively into the platform, making certain that it powers every single stage of the campaign workflow, and making certain it's able to deliver the intelligence that you actually need. So no matter whether or not you're using your own systems or whether or not you're using ours, we're focusing on those agentic workflows and driving communication. Now, I'm going to skip over this because I'm looking at the clock and I've only got 5 minutes. I do believe these slides are going to be shared afterwards. There is another demo, actually, of one of these native agents that's working in the platform today, which will give you an idea of the type of thing. But it's using Gen AI prompts to actually supercharge troubleshooting. I'm going to click over it really quickly, see if I can get past it. Got past it. Awesome. OK, so the final one is hours. Are we there yet with hours? Probably not. But this is where I see the future coming when it comes to agentic communication. Think about all the work that's happening across the industry. You've got publishers, you've got supply side, you've got demand side, you've got advertisers, you've got agencies, you've got measurement vendors, you've got data vendors. Everybody that's involved within the ecosystem within our industry is currently looking at how can they actually build in MCP servers, how can they build to these new protocols that are coming out, and how can they actually start to drive agentic communication. So let me give you 2 examples. The first is optimization. Optimization, yes, foundationally it's done through the algorithms. But equally, most clients want to be able to make decisions around optimizations. Right now, they have to go into the platform, they need to pull out the information, they need to strategize, they need to make the considerations. If they have their own optimization agent that is linked in to our optimization agent, instead, they're able to say, hey, bring me back some recommendations of what you think might be able to drive the performance up to X, Y, or Z. Now, yes, there's governance there. It's not a case whereby agents are telling agents what to do and agents just go ahead and do it. Instead, our agent comes back and says, hey, here are 3 different optimization scenarios. Would you like to use any of these? The client agent, directed by a human, will then make a decision as to which path to go down. Straight away there, you've got agents to agents talking to each other. The one that I really like, though, is data and discoverability. This isn't there yet, but it's something that we're definitely sort of working towards. Imagine a place whereby you have a client agent that is coming in to a platform, coming into a DSP using an MCP, an audience discovery MCP. That pulls out exactly what it is, the type of segments through the Gen AI prompt that it's interested in. That's already there. That's available today. Equally, it's a native agent in the platform as well. But now imagine you have a place where the Yahoo DSP audience agent is also then communicating with the data vendors' agents as well. No longer do you have this long trawl of human-based communication going back and forth saying, hey, I want this custom segment, or this is my pitch, your off-the-shelf taxonomy really doesn't quite fit what it is that I need. Instead, you can start within your own tool and use agent-to-agent communication to discover the best of the best when it comes to data. Right, I'm going to speed up a little bit here because I've got 1.5 minutes. So what's the benefit for you? Efficiency, performance, clarity, and scalability. What I do want to slightly touch on, though, is the guiding principles. There's a huge, I think everybody would be a liar if they said they weren't saying, is it going to take my job? Is it a case whereby agentic AI is going to come in? Yes, it's going to transform the industry, but in actual fact, we're going to see, resources completely reduced, and it's going to replace everything in relation to humans. I don't think that's the case at all. Agentic AI is only good where it's being human-directed. And as long as you're following certain guiding principles, you really can start to see a supercharge of agentic communication. The first is, make certain that you empower people. Automate what's necessary. Don't automate stuff that's not needed. Free them up to allow them to be focusing on strategy. Focus on the things that really drive growth. Be pragmatic. Not everything needs to have AI associated with it. Only focus on those areas which is going to drive value. And then finally, be open and interoperable. So Agentic AI. It's a force multiplier. It removes routine. It's going to redefine what it means to be a DSP. But above all, agentic communication is here. Thank you. Oh, and just quickly, there is a QR code. If you would like to have a further conversation, I am around for the rest of today. But we also would be more than happy to speak to you separately about what it is that we're doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Also from my side, we got one quick question from an advertiser perspective. How do you foresee the future from protecting and spread with external agents interacting with digital campaigns? Can we protect ROAS, return on ad spend?
So, I mean, is it a case of protecting it, or is it a case of actually understanding how external agents are actually communicating? And I think one of the guardrails that I kind of put up there is that you're not bringing agentic communication in to replace what humans are doing. What you're doing is you're freeing up their time to focus more on strategy and growth. So what I would say is if you're able to use those Gen AI prompts in order to be able to get more insights and more measurement coming back and be able to action better, if anything, you're going to drive up ROAS. But you are right, there does need to be governance, and it does need to be a case whereby agent-to-agent communication and not acting in a completely autonomous manner. There needs to be a level of human interaction and human direction.
Okay, thank you. In respect of the time, I will switch one question. So thank you so much for your presentation. It was very exciting. And see you soon. If you have direct question, please let them know directly.
Wir sind hier. So, einfach bei uns vorbeischauen und wenn ihr noch Fragen habt. Many thanks.
Thank you.